Hi, this is Gizmo First, and today I was making a film about something completely different, but I came across this and I have to share it. It is a trailer for Apple Television's Foundation. I always say things have a special place in my heart. I said that Star Wars has a special place, and Star Trek has a special place, and Foundation also has one of those very many special places in my heart because it's made by my favorite author, Isaac Asimov, and these were my favorite books by said author. Now, we are in the 21st century. Asimov is long dead, and we have a very bad history when it comes to making Isaac Asimov adaptations. This film from 2004 is one of them, I, Robot. It was basically, they said it was based on Isaac Asimov's books, and it was. Some of the people, some of the characters, some of the places, some of the names were the same, but for the most part it was its own thing. It didn't have a lot in common with Asimov's books. There was no one book called I, Robot. I, Robot was a collection of short stories made by Isaac Asimov about robots. And literally, if you don't know who Asimov is, he is the grandfather of modern science fiction. We have a lot of what we are working on today in robotics are based on his theories and the laws of robotics that we see in many films. One of them indeed being Star Trek, where Data has the 3 laws of robotics, whereas he can't harm a human being and he can't harm himself unless it means harming a human being, etc. All of this we have from Asimov. And I, Robot was set to become a very big hit, and it kind of flopped because people who like and appreciate Asimov didn't like the film, and those people who don't know who Asimov was couldn't relate to the film enough to get into it, I guess. Will Smith obviously had pulling power in terms. It did okay in the box office. It didn't flop, but it could have had a sequel if it had. It could have been a franchise, because Isaac Asimov was writing books for a very long time. They estimated around 800 different literary works by that author, so there was a lot of material to delve into. Now today we're going to watch the trailer of Foundation. This is not a reaction because I've already seen it, but I do want to draw attention to a few things. I was a little bit, I would say, anxious when I heard that they were going to make this, and especially it was coming from Apple. And especially considering historically, Hollywood does not have a good track record of honouring the source material. This is an extremely difficult series to make, and we're going to go. I'll pause it different times and point out why it's difficult. So here we go. I am interested in how this is going to look. So
you can't be here. You know that.
This is a guy who's looking at some cloney babies.
I am the first one who wanted to see my youngest self. Strange. Watching yourself being born.
So watching yourself being born, for me this is an emperor. I do remember this particular emperor. There's something about a coin in it. I read these books a very long time ago, and I'm going to read them again before I start watching this. But he is apparently watching himself being born again. Now, I don't remember that being part of the books. If you do, please let me know in which book, and I'll definitely go and check it out. But the emperors had dynasties, and they were basically the family, sons, all the way, like basically how ancient Egypt worked. The emperor passed on to the son, the throne, but there were also assassinations, takeovers. This, because the books take place over 1,000 years, I would say this is kind of their answer to the fact that they can't have one character living for 1,000 years, so they will clone him, and it will be from his perspective.
Almost 4 centuries.
Yeah, so they have one dynasty for 4 centuries. I imagine it's a clone of the same person. This looks like the fall of the Empire. Now this is, they're toting this as Apple's answer to Star Wars. It's not, because this has nothing to do with Star Wars, and Star Wars has nothing to do with this. I mean, people are saying that Star Wars, and Apple will go on record and say it in a minute, that Star Wars takes a lot of influence from Isaac Asimov. I cannot remember George Lucas ever saying that. Maybe someone mentioned the robots as the droids in connection to Isaac Asimov, but I cannot remember. George Lucas took his inspiration from Star Wars from ancient mythology. This is something completely different. The first thing being that it's 50,000 years after Earth has passed into long gone memory. It's actually a myth, and the Empire, this is a name, right, which we hear as well in Star Wars, but empires have been around forever, so that's the closest thing I could say that was lifted from this to Star Wars was Coruscant, because there's a planet in this which is at the center of the Galactic Empire called Tranta, and it's basically one big city. That is copy paste into Star Wars, and that wasn't until 1999 when we saw the prequels. So Tranta, yeah, I would say no, this is not Apple's answer to Star Wars.
Has brought peace to thousands of worlds. But the beliefs of one man.
This is Harry Seldon and the dude who plays him. Jeez, someone put his name in the comments section. He's a fantastic actor, and I will watch it just for this guy. Everything I see him in, he's like, the white version of Samuel L. Jackson. Whatever Samuel L. Jackson is in, it does not matter if the film sucks. He will be awesome. Doesn't matter if it's Snakes on the Plane or Jackie Brown or whatever. He is always top notch, and I'm going to watch it to see this guy playing Harry Seldon. Harry Seldon is the hero of this series, and he's a fantastic character who we barely ever see for the whole series. He's just in the introduction, because most of the action takes place when this guy is long dead. So I don't know how they're going to work him into this.
Now threaten the Empire's very existence.
I'm not a revolutionary.
That's from the very first chapter of the book, and this character I would like to draw attention to, and this I was looking forward to Foundation until I saw this. It might not be a bad thing, because this is a character who in the book doesn't change or, is not hugely influential. I can see that here she is. In the trailer, she's very predominant. She's very at the forefront. Through most of the books, she's dead, like long ago. This is Gul Dornick. Now, the thing that you might notice, even by the name, I'm sure they might even change her name in this. In the book, she was a young, white, male mathematician. So here we go again, changing gender, changing race, for no other reason than just to do it. Right? I don't know what it gives or what it detracts from the story. If she plays it well, I'll give him that. It's not a problem. Gul Dornick was never an integral part of this. If they tried to make him more than he actually was in the books, that's where we're going to have a problem. But for the moment, I can live with that.
His calculations are correct. The Empire is dying.
So the Empire is dying. This Empire that's been there for 30,000 years is coming to an end, and only Harry Seldon can see it.
Order will vanish.
That's true to the books.
Only he can shorten the darkness.
Shorten the darkness. Harry Seldon saw that everybody was going to lose technology. We're going to go back into the Dark Ages, and it was going to last for 30,000 years. He saw a way of shortening that period to 1,000 years. The premise is very good, and it can be done well.
People who hinge their hopes on every word Seldon utters. Words have a way of fanning into wildfires.
A lot of the text from this is actually from the book. I remember these conversations. I remember emperors who were scared of Seldon.
You can't save yourselves.
Definitely from the book. You can't save yourselves, but you can save the billions and billions that are going to come and die after.
But you can save your legacy.
I think this is a picture from the actual colony called Foundation. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but it's basically a huge library where the whole knowledge of mankind is kept to come and bring about a new empire quicker than the 30,000 predicted years of darkness. This is where Apple goes on to say
Trying to make Foundation for over 50 years.
they've been trying to make it for over 50 years because it's almost impossible to make as a movie or as a series, because you can't get invested in characters which are there for 1 minute and gone. I remember it takes place in a 1,000-year period, but they're also a collection of short stories from that time frame. So by the time you've got attached to certain characters and you really like them, they're dead and you're on to the next generation 50 or 100 years later. So I'm wondering how they're going to get around that. Cloning emperors does seem like a way, especially if those emperors carry on the knowledge that the previous one had before them. I don't know how they're going to make this girl Gul Dornick a main character unless they continue to clone her too. I don't know.
Foundation was an enormous influence for Star Wars.
I don't think so. I don't think it was. Please prove me wrong.
It was the greatest science fiction work of all time.
I agree.
The story is sprawling. The scope is sprawling.
It is.
Over the course of 1,000 years.
Which makes it really difficult to make. If they even do it half the justice it's deserving, I would call it a success.
There were a company that was hoping to sort of better people's lives.
And Apple obviously puts their own spin. Apple being the foundation, that's gonna improve people's lives. Yeah, so we're on to the other teaser trailer. This one's a bit more actiony. This scene is from the first pages of the book where Gul Dornick is taken up. He's gone to see Trantor. It's his first time on such a big planet because he comes from a backwater planet. She, in this, comes from a backwater planet. She goes up to the top of the dome and tries to see Trantor, which is the city, which is Coruscant, basically. Or Coruscant is Trantor. And she goes up, she comes back down, she catches... Someone has a talk with her in the elevator and warns her against working with Harry Seldon.
They're going to arrest me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you.
And that's straight out the book as well. It's a certainty. Yes, they're going to arrest them both. He's on trial. Basically, the first episode, if it's a series, first episode will be him on trial. If it's a film, the first 10, 15 minutes, I think they would need to do that. See, I just saw the trailer and I came straight here to make a video. I haven't even looked into it to see if it's a series. I cannot see how this could be made as a single movie. It is just too big and too expansive to do it.
And I don't like the future I predict.
Because he predicts complete and total annihilation.
The Empire will fall. Order will vanish. There's massive events rushing to meet us.
Yeah. Okay, that's a bit of BS there. This second trailer is very action-packed, and Asimov was extremely not action-packed. It all took place in the mind. It all took place in the manipulation of politics and events. If Star Wars took anything from that, it's Emperor Palpatine in the prequels, manipulating things to his own ends, because this is exactly what the Foundation does. There is a plan in place which they are not aware of themselves, and I don't want to give away too much because the Foundation is not the end of that plan. It is basically a tool. There is some... I see in this film a possibility of improving, and I know every single Asimov fan out there is just going to stone me right now, of improving on the original, because the first 3 books were really, really good. And he came back to it again later and kind of ruined it, at least for me. This is one of those things. His Foundation books became extremely preachy, even by today's standards. He decided that he wanted his books to be long dialogues in the middle of a long space journey, debating God, the existence of the universe, the purpose of man, all these different stuffs. And they went really dry, really quickly, never giving a really good ending. And this is something that we all debate in the Asimov community, 2 and 4th. What could have been better? Some of the authors tried to change his work. It didn't work out. This has the potential to show exactly how it ended. So if they do something with that, if there's some clever writers behind it, it has potential to be better than the original after the original trilogy. If they don't stray far away from the original trilogy, but build on that, it does have the potential to be good. And I do understand that that they have to put action and stuff in to keep an audience, obviously. Okay, so the original premise is there. They have Harry Seldon, they have this 1,000 years of darkness, they have the fall of the Foundation, they obviously have the Foundation itself, this colony which is going to bring the whole galaxy out of this darkness. All of the things are there to make it a success, and to top it off, they have action scenes for the popcorn goers. So let's have a look. I mean, this I'm going to be following. If it's a series, I will follow it every week for sure, and I will definitely give my reactions to those episodes for sure, and try to break it down and compare it to the books. I might even read the books before all this starts, just so I get a better picture. Be clear, I've read them before, but it's been a while. I'm also going to cover Picard, and I'm also going to cover Discovery Season 4 when it comes out, because Those things are things dear to my heart. Okay, so this is Gizmo First. Please let me know what you think of Foundation. Do you know Asimov? Do you know his work? Do you think this has a chance in hell of being good? Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.